Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Batchelor, and I'm a teacher here in the province of Alberta. If you're new to my channel, what I talk about here is real, honest insights about what's happening in education right now, especially in the province of Alberta and in our classrooms here. And is that something that you care about and resonates with you? Please consider liking or sharing or subscribing so that more people can see these conversations. So today, I'm here to talk to you about the fact that my music class was canceled again. And by again, I don't mean like once in a while. I mean, this is the fourth time in less than a week and a half, all right, that my classes have simply been canceled so I can go and teach somewhere else. And before anybody jumps on that one, no, it's not my admin's fault. It's not a scheduling issue. It's not that I'm in a bad school or mismanaged division. It's a systemic problem. And I'd like to start about exploring why that is, because when we look at the numbers and how this is impacting your kids, this should make you very concerned. So across Alberta, and across Canada, we simply just don't have enough teachers staying in the profession. So that's the first biggest issue here. According to the Canadian Teachers Federation, about 45% of teachers have considered leaving the profession in the past year. And in Alberta specifically, these numbers are just as concerning. Honestly, and I have anecdotal data to back this one up, or experiential perhaps. According to the ATA, our Alberta Teachers Association, at least 1/3 of teachers are considering leaving, relocating, or retiring. And frankly, I'm one of them. I've been teaching in this province for all of my career, all 25 years. It's my 26th year. And for the first time in my career, I've been like, I need a retirement plan. Honestly, I always joked that my retirement plan was I was just going to die conducting. And you can laugh at that, but there are auditoriums in Europe that are built so that if the conductor happens to pass away during the performance, they just can cart him out easily. So it's options, on the table for me. But I'm reconsidering that. I'm exhausted, and I love what I do. That hasn't changed. I love my students. That hasn't changed. I'm concerned for my students more so than I've ever been. But yeah, this isn't sustainable, my friends. So I'm considering early retirement if that's going to be an option for me. Or if my husband had a job offer in BC, I'd be like, hey, I got boxes and packing tape. Let's load up, right? This problem about retention is really where we're going to start with this conversation today, because it's not just about hiring, right? It's not like it's more complicated. It's a nuance. So let's delve into some of the numbers here. So according to the ATA, they have related research that estimates roughly 30 to 40% of new teachers leave within their first 5 years. So we're not just struggling to bring the people in, we're losing them early. Like 5 years into their career, they're deciding, yeah, this is not sustainable. And when you look at why teachers are leaving, the pattern is incredibly clear, right? It's, according to the ATA, over 90% of teachers who are considering leaving cite workload and working conditions as our main reason. That's my top reason. I'm drowning here. In fact, 86% of us report poor or very poor working conditions. 90% say their workload is unmanageable, and over 90% report feeling exhausted. And I'm not talking like I'm tired because I stayed up too late and didn't sleep. I'm talking about like the type of exhaustion where we probably shouldn't be driving. A teacher tired is a whole different level of tired. I'm guessing probably like nursing tired would be a similar level of tired. Positions where we have to make a gazillion decisions all day while we're on our feet, right? We're exhausted. And it's always been a tiring job, but now that I'm not just making a gazillion decisions, I'm making 20 gazillion decisions without support. It's exhausting, right? And classrooms today are more complex than they've ever been. I've done multiple videos on the complexity issues. Feel free to check those out. But according to the ATA, again, our data, 77% of teachers say student needs have become more complex, and teachers are now spending a significant portion of instructional time managing behaviors and support needs. So we used to have kind of a 80-20 rule for interventions. So as somebody who sometimes does pull-out groups, or used to do pull-out groups, now we do push-in, but I'd go, hey, can I have the kids that are under grade level, and I'll take them out and I'll work with them in the hallway on whatever we need to work on. And that used to be about 20% of our kids, which would need some extra supports. And of that 20%, only 5% really needed intensive supports, like we're more than 3 or 4 grade levels behind. And that 80% of your class, they were within the acceptable between 2 grades of reading levels. Like if you read at a grade 7 level in grade 9, you're going to be fine, right? But if you read at a grade 2 level in grade 9, you see where I'm going with this? And that unfortunately is now the norm. So the reason that we don't pull out small groups anymore, when we're talking about inclusion, which is a little bit of a different conversation, we do push in, is because that is flipped. 80% of our kids are outside of that 2-year norm. 80% are more than 2 years behind where they should be in reading, literacy basically, and then also the mathematic area. So you want to say it's changed? Like, and that flip has happened in the last, I hate to say since COVID. It had started before, but COVID really kicked that into high gear and perspective for us. So when you combine teachers leaving the profession or early career attrition, increasing classroom complexity, and sustainability of workloads, you don't just get a shortage, you get a system that absolutely isn't going to be able to be sustainable, right? So what does this actually look like in schools? So when a teacher's away, there often isn't a substitute available, right? I will put one in the system. I can even request. Chances of me getting a sub is about 1 out of every 4 tries at this point. So according to reporting from some school divisions, including data shared publicly in Calgary, so this is the CBE, Calgary Board of Education, there have been periods where nearly 200 teaching absences per day were unfilled. They were short 200 teachers. That means there are 200 classrooms in Calgary Board of Education alone, right? Which is a big, big, big division. I work in Rocky View, which is almost as big. And I'm guessing our numbers are very, very similar. We were 6 sub short one day last week. 6 classrooms did not have teachers. So when we say sub shortage, we mean you have that class of 30 plus children with all the complexities and no adult. Probably not even an EA, right? 200 teaching absences per day went unfilled every day. And we don't have a stat that says how many days this happens because that's just not how the data is tracked. And I wish it was, but it's just not. So I can't provide you a number. But hypothetically, and let's pretend I don't count to 4 for a living, when hundreds of jobs go unfilled every day, this isn't occasional, at roughly 180, 188 school days a year, that's on the order of 30,000 to 40,000 uncovered classrooms in a single division annually. And Alberta has over 60 school divisions, and not every division has experienced the same level of shortage. But even a fraction of that across the province means this is affecting tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of classes every year. And it's constant. According to the Alberta Teachers Association, substitute shortages are being reported across the province. Surprise! Check out my Facebook feed. I've been complaining about it for a while. So what happens when we don't have a sub? Right? We can't have these 30 children with complex needs unsupervised. And honestly, safety is where we start. Schools don't shut down because safety becomes the priority over learning. We have to pull from somewhere. And admin gets really creative in ways to fill this. Sometimes they'll combine classes. So instead of having 1 grade 4 class, maybe I will have 2. And if I'm lucky, they'll throw in an extra EA. Now, my ratios for supervision are way the fuck off. But I actually had 4 classes at once. Not last week, the week before. 4 classes. I'm going to get in trouble, but my room is built for 46 kids. That's the fire code. 4 classes, the smallest class had 26 kids. I had a lot of humans in my room. I did get 1 extra adult. I had 2 at one point. But, sometimes combining classes. And it can work, right? Honestly, we have in our building these sliding doors between the classrooms upstairs in the middle school wing. So, like, if your teacher was away, you could slide it open and then you would actually have space at least. But it's better than nothing, right? So combining classes happens, but as I said, this creates unsafe ratios. So sometimes we redistribute the students. So maybe they'll take 4 kids from the class and put them in grade 1, and 4 will go in another grade 1, and 4 will go in a grade 2, and they'll just be expected to do independent work, right? Stuff that's there on their Google Classroom, right? But most commonly what's happening is me. right? Specialist teachers, those of us who teach music, phys ed, or we're doing the learning support. Learning support teachers are the ones who do the focused pull out, push in. We meet with small groups of kids. We work with classrooms to help them build strategies to support learners, right? We are the ones, learning support teachers are the ones who are supposed to be bridging that gap and trying to help us get from that 80% needing extra support to, well, a whole lot less than 80%, right? So kind of an important job, right? I mean, not everybody values music or phys ed the same way, but we can talk about that in other conversations, just not today, right? But clearly, those courses have a lot of value as well. So when I get pulled to cover, what does that mean? Well, it means music disappears for that day, right? Music for 200 kids that I would have seen. It means that my small reading and math groups are canceled. And sometimes I'll go 3 weeks without seeing a group. It means that phys ed disappears. We already have multiple classes sharing the gym space at the same time in my building, but they don't have that because there's nobody to teach it. And here's the part that people don't always see. Because, yeah, okay, they missed music. Big deal. It is a big deal. Because it means these students are losing consistency. They're losing routine. They're losing a space where they feel successful. They lose creative expression. And for some kids, this is their favorite part of their day. For some kids, this is the one place where they can self-regulate and feel accomplished and feel like they fit in. For some places, it's their place. Some of our kids, it's our place of belonging. Community is a big part of music and phys ed. And it's just gone, right? For some kids, I'm their safe person in the building, not because they don't have fantastic teachers, but because for some reason, I'm the weirdo they've bonded with. And they don't get to see me. One of my kids like that now comes into class before school every day to get a hug just in case she doesn't see me. Like my heart, right? Like just gone. And again, I know that some people are going to say, well, just hire more teachers. Because like, duh. Yeah, cool. That's the answer. Yeah. But it is. I mean, honestly, if you don't have enough of something, the answer is you need more. Right? But it's not that simple. And so let's explore that a little bit, right? So right now, Alberta's student population is growing rapidly. Lots of reasons why. I've got other videos you can go and check out. According to Alberta government data, we've added over 50,000 students in just the past 2 years and close to 80 to 90,000 in only a few years. That's huge numbers of children. And it's disproportionate in the province where these kids have landed, right? Some boards have been hit harder than others. So to keep class sizes stable, what we need right now is to hire over 1,000 new teachers every year just to keep up with growth, right? If we were simply able to have 1,000 brand new teachers every year, that would keep up with growth. As long as nobody was retiring or getting sick or having babies, right? Like, stop all that nonsense, and then 1,000 teachers would solve our problem. But, okay, why can't we just have 1,000 new teachers? Well, first of all, your teacher education program takes 4 to 5 years, right? If you go in and you just take, you can do combined degrees in the 5 years, or you can do a first degree and then do an after degree, which, by the way, if you aren't terrified of joining the world of teaching, because really, honestly, I love it. I'd like to do more videos about the positive end of things. But Ambrose University here in the Calgary area has a fantastic after degree program in 2 years. Lots of mature students. I love the Ambrose graduates. I love the Mount Royal University graduates. You know, there's some schools that provide for more mature students who want to come in, have a little more life experience. They find fantastic programming, right? You don't have to just go the traditional route, right? And we need people in all specialties, right? So come on aboard, right? But it takes 4 to 5 years to prepare a new teacher. And if up to 40% of those are leaving within the first 5 years, well, we're not building stability. We're just cycling people through because we don't even necessarily have 1,000 teachers graduate every year in this province. So what this means is with the increased recruitment, it could take up to 10 years or more to stabilize the workforce. And that's only if retention improves, right? If it doesn't, we're just pouring new teachers into a system that's going to keep losing them, right? This revolving door. And so this isn't just about producing more teachers, which we need to address. There needs to be more seats at universities, but we need to find out how to hang on to these, right? Because according to Alberta Education Research and Reporting, this is a retention crisis. But they've been saying this my whole career. right? When I first started teaching, the number was something around 30%, 25 to 30% of teachers were quitting at the 5-year mark. Now we're up to 40 to 50%. So you have to ask yourself why. Behavior is communication. Why is this happening? Right? And it's not necessarily happening in big dramatic things. It's happening gradually, right? And who is feeling this crisis? Well, the students are, right? And again, not in big dramatic ways all at once, but in small, consistent losses. A class here, a class there. Now we're so far behind that we aren't going to do as well in festival. Maybe a program is going to be canceled just because we can't have these specialist programs. We need you in homerooms, right? A moment for connection is being lost, right? So today my music classes got canceled again, right? And I'll show up tomorrow and try again because that's what teachers do. And in fact, I was reassigned to a cosmetology thing that we're doing in our building. It's called ELW, and I'm drawing a blank. Immersive? No. Anyways, Learning Week, whatever the E stands for. My ADHD brain's done its soup at this point in the day, so I apologize. But exponential? No, that means to get bigger. Anyways, the kids are offered a variety of options that have to have career roots in them. These are grade 7, 8, 9s, and we spend an intensive week on it. So I'm in cosmetology. My own child is taking one on, it looked like it was like clay stuff, but then the other day he got to spend the whole day with like a police officer teaching them about doing sketches, to find suspects. And good news, if my kid's the one drawing it, you're not getting caught. I love you, Q. Yeah, you're safe. But I digress. So I'm in cosmetology. And it's a little bit stressful because I don't Cosmo. I need to ology more. I don't know. But because I have my lashes and nails done, they assume I know stuff and things. So actually, really what it was is that the girls in this room are a little bit tricky, some of them, relationship-wise. And that's my superpower. I build relationship real quick. And I also have existing relationship with some of these kids who've been through music and they've been a part of my community. And so if you put me in there, at least I'm not a new face, right? A lot of the reasons these kids struggle to come to school, some of these girls, is relationship based and feeling safe in the room, not because their other teacher wasn't. It's just I'm the weirdo they've connected with, right? It's just how this works sometimes, right? There's kids who do not connect with me or get me, and I drive them nuts, but they connect with other teachers, right? It's so important to have that diversity in teaching. But it's actually been okay. And today, when I had to leave cosmetology to actually go teach music, 3 of the girls are like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, to do my real job. And they're like, oh, "You're leaving us?" So, I mean, clearly in the few days I've been in there, we've built our own little thing. And then now I'm normal to them. And me going to teach my actual class is yet one other transition for these poor kids, right? And this is just what we do. We try it every day and we hope that it stops happening, but it doesn't. So if we actually want this to stop happening, we need to stop treating like it's some isolated problem and start recognizing it for what it actually is. It's a system under strain. It's a system that is going to collapse, right? We are putting students at risk every day in this province, unintentionally, because we don't have enough trained, qualified adults in the rooms. We just don't. So until we fix the system, this is going to keep happening. And I'm curious, if you are an educator, I'd love to know, especially in Alberta, but please chime in regardless. I'd like to know how often this is happening in your school right now. So I'm going to put a poll in the comments here on YouTube, and I will put one on my Facebook post. And I'd love to see, how often this is happening across different schools and divisions in the province of Alberta and further on. And I'll do a follow-up video in a few weeks. I'd like to give you a date, but you know me. The only thing consistent about me is I'm not. When I get a moment, and I'll share the results with your and dive into the experiences a little bit. So if you have a story to tell, throw it into the comments in either YouTube or Facebook, and I would love to use that content in the future to kind of inform the bigger picture. So if this resonated with you, as a parent who's concerned about what's going on in your kids' classrooms, as a teacher who sees this happening or is directly impacted by it happening. And I mean, I didn't even touch on the fact that I spent 6 hours making subplans for a day that don't get followed, which means that, and people who care about math, science, core content areas, this means your kid's losing lesson time, right? Or if they're being taught the Pythagorean theorem by me, heaven help them. Pray for the children. There's no hope. I will unteach them if it's math. In fact, I have. Unapologetic. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's not my thing. And yet, I'm the warm body in the room who can keep everybody safe. And at least I can build relationship and keep connection and at least do that, right? So your children at least have not lost all sense of normalcy. I mean, I'm in the room, so there's nothing normal, but we deal with that. But I would love to hear what you think. And I would love to share your stories or give you an opportunity to as well. And I would love to hear from parents. If your child has been impacted by this, I would love to know what it means in your household when your kid doesn't have gym all day. Do they come home the same kid? Mine doesn't. And if he's missing music, same thing. He doesn't come home quite the same, right? It has a domino effect, right? So please let me know what you think. And if you want more content like this, of course, follow, like, share, all the social media things we're supposed to say at the end of a video. And thank you very much. And I hope you have our back as teachers, because we have your kids' backs, and that really means we have yours. So thanks so much. Enjoy your day.